I remember the footsteps of my parents walking down the hall, and as soon as I heard them, I just got tensed up, and I just quickly turned off my TV. And they opened the door, and I would look at them, and I would just be doing my homework, and I'd be like, "Good job," and then they would close the door, right? And then the second they closed the door, I would turn on the TV again, and I would continue to play Fortnite instead of doing my work. Now, this was during the lowest point of my life, which was my junior year of high school, in which I was procrastinating like crazy, and I had, you know, probably the worst mental health I had, and it was not a good time. And part of that was my, you know, compulsion to procrastinate with, video games like Fortnite. And this went on for a long period of time, pretty much, I believe it's like around the end of the year, pretty much. And, it was only like in the next school year, as I advanced in my self improvement, that I was finally able to let go of video games and Fortnite and really grow as a person. But it wasn't such an easy process of, okay, I want to quit video games. This is how I'm going to do it. It was more of a gradual process of realizing that video games aren't doing much for me, if anything. And by the time I decided to truly quit, it was pretty much effortless, and I didn't have to force myself for anything. I just naturally decided to let it go and out of my life. So I remember a key moment in this was Hamza, and I discovered Hamza in the summer after my junior year when I joined the Kingdom Discord server. So I was introduced to Hamza, and I was I really resonated with him because a lot of the other self improvement YouTubers, they would tell you like they tell you like, video games are good, you can balance them, in your life and stuff like that. But I think deep down I knew that video games were pretty much a waste of my time. And Hamza, there's a lot of different reasons why I like Hamza, but pretty much I would continue to watch Hamza and I would absorb his ideas. And he was always saying that video games and social media and all these things, they're bad for you, that they're just bad, and they're, sapping away your energy. And, it was hard at first to accept that, right? I'm taking in his message of you shouldn't be playing video games, and I'm still playing them, right? And over time, I started to think to myself, why am I doing this? Why do I like to play video games? And part of it was because I enjoyed them, right? And the other part was that I saw myself as a gamer. All my life, ever since I was a little kid, my first like dream job was to be a video game maker. I wanted to make games and do all this stuff. So you know having that as a part of your identity. I am a gamer. I see myself as a gamer. My hobbies are to play video games. It was kind of hard to let that go. But like I said, as I started improving myself, hitting the gym, starting to see those gains, as I started to read more, as I started to develop myself, I realized like video games really weren't doing that much for me. And the reason why I was continuing to play them was like it was a part of my identity, but also like the pleasure that it gave me. One of Hamza's, one of his videos was he was saying that if you are good at video games, you'd actually be sick at real life because, if you play a video game, you love to level up. I remember my favorite types of video games are RPGs, the ones where you fight a bunch of enemies and you get more levels. More levels is more abilities and things like that. So I love those types of games. But he was saying, you love to level up in the game, but what if you applied that to real life? What if you improved your body? What if you improved your social skills? What if you got more money? And like I thought about that and it made a lot of sense. I kept chasing video games and I kept switching, because when you're a kid, like you can just play one video game for forever, right? But I was always just hopping onto new games and playing them for a little while, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was just chasing like that feeling of pleasure, that feeling of progress. But in reality, none of those games really gave me any sort of fulfillment. They gave me the illusion of progress. I felt like I was advancing in the world, or doing something of substance, but I really wasn't. And I was just finding myself like just feeling empty playing these games. And I realized I had to kind of let them go. So at a certain point, I just kept improving myself. I was working on my podcast, my Get Well Soon, and improving my mental health. And at a certain point, I just realized like, video games, I had to let them go, and it was pretty easy for the most part, but there was one game that I just kept coming back to, and that was Fortnite, right? Because I love Fortnite. And in particular, the thing that kept me on the game was the battle pass, because the battle pass is the idea that in this period of time, like a few months, there's going to be limited time rewards, and you can only get the rewards if you do the challenges in that limited period of time. And if you don't, then the battle pass will go away and you'll miss all those rewards. And I remember that specific moment when I was like, man, I gotta quit video games, but what about the battle pass? Ah man, I want to get these rewards, but then I realized like it doesn't matter. Like I had to tell myself like, it just doesn't matter. That's the whole point of the video game, is to kind of make it seem like it matters, and that's why you buy into it. That's why you buy, because like it's limited time and things like that. And I decided to say, you know what, in a few years, I'm not really going to care about these skins, because in the previous battle passes, I don't even wear those skins anymore. I'm all about getting the battle pass right now. So I realized, all right, you know what, I'm gonna let go of this. I know it doesn't matter. And what I found is that I quit in December, and in those next coming months, I did not think of the battle pass at all. I was just completely just focused on my real life. And then I remembered it now. I remembered the battle pass, and I was like, oh man, I missed out on all those skins. But then I'm like, but it doesn't really matter, It doesn't really matter. So yeah, that is how I quit Fortnite.